What's up YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we will be hunting a $500 box of N.A. String & Sons quarters from one of my local Wells Fargos. It's actually been one of my go-to banks lately to get quarters because they always seem to have a box, and I like it because I've had really good luck with the String & Sons over the Loomis and the Brinks rolls. So with that said, we're going to get this pushed back. We're going to jump right into them, and I guess I'll point out really quickly, we do have a bicentennial ender and a couple of 2022s, but I don't see anything else jumping out at me. So let's get into this. So if you are new to the channel, we do a lot of coin roll hunts here, and today we are hunting quarters. And there are a bunch of errors that can be found in quarters. And I have a document in my description down below that talks about all of the various things that I'm looking for. And as I find, cool errors, varieties, silver, W's, proofs, business strikes, any of those things, I will bring you guys in to talk about what it is, why it's special. And a lot of times in the wrap-up, I'll talk about what it's worth. And I will bring you over to the computer when it's important to point out what the varieties are, to check these out under the scope. So I like to do this first roll on camera and just kind of talk my way through it. And point out anything that might be interesting for us to look at, or if you're going to coin roll hunt, what you should look at. So like this 2020, there is a W or a West Point minted quarter that the West Point quarters are worth a lot of money right now, and they are definitely worth looking for. The cheap ones go for about $10 or $15, and they get up to 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks. This Homestead quarter, in my last hunt, I found 3 DDRs on that, so we always check that. The new 2022s are all good for the Drooling George error, which is just a die chip on the corner of the mouth. Here is an American Memorial Park. Unfortunately, it's a Philly and not a W. I was talking about those just a second ago. Those come from West Point. And there's about 2 million of those in each of the 2019 and 2020 quarters that are still out there in circulation, and so they are pretty rare. So that looks like a Denver. This Arizona also has a die chip error here under the cactus that we'll be checking out. Let's just keep running through this. Sorry if I'm rambling. Sometimes it's hard for me to talk and think at the same time. I don't know if any of the rest of you guys have that problem, but here we go. This is the Crossing the Delaware quarter, and really what we're looking for is a big die chip at the top of Washington's hat. That one didn't have it. There's another W opportunity. Another W opportunity. All right, so I'm going to put these guys under the scope. If I find something interesting, I will bring you guys in. So we're in here on roll 14. I'm bringing you in. I've found a couple of things. I'll show you all these things under the scope. None of them are terribly important finds. I have 3 drooling Georges so far, 2 on the Maya Angelou and 1 on the Man Killer. And I do have 1 Denver bicentennial. I do pull all my bicentennials, but I'm most of the way through this 14th roll. If you saw my last video, I had a bunch of Homestead DDRs, and I mentioned in that video, I see a lot of these, and I've got another one. So I wanted to show you here on screen. If I can find my mouse here, where'd he go? There he is. If you look right here, that is the extra pump handle DDR. And I'll pull this up on Variety Vista and show you how to identify this. So just give me a second. So what I have pulled up here is Variety Vista, and I'm just going to show you how to get to the quarters. And so we're looking at the America the Beautiful quarters. We would like to look at DDRs, and we would like to look at the 2015 Homestead. Now, I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to jump ahead to the one that I know I have. But when you click in, you can go page by page, and they have nice little pictures of what you'd be looking for that DDR. And mine, I believe, is this 1969 DDR. And when you drill in, there's usually multiple pictures that you should use as a guide to identify your coin. Now, they do describe up here at the top usually what you're looking for, who submitted the DDR, but let me zoom in just to show you a couple of the markers. So they're saying that your coin, where's my mouse? There it is, should have a little DDR in the window and this extra pump handle. For some added evidence, there should be some depressions along the upper left side of the roof and the upper right side of the roof. So let's take a closer look at our coin. So we've got this pulled back up. I'm going to zoom way in here with the camera, and you can see mine is very, very light, but you can see a little bit of DDR in the window and the extra pump handle. Now, sorry this is really shaky, but I'm zoomed really far in. When you look here, you can see depressions on the left side of the roof and the right side of the roof. So that's how you can use Variety Vista to help you identify your coins. And they have most of the coins that coin roll hunters hunt. There we go, I got it out. They have pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars. They may even do dollars. I don't hunt those, so I don't know. But it's one of my go-to resources for identifying various DDRs, DDOs, and mint mark styles. So same roll, we're 5 coins from the end. I've got a Kansas quarter under the scope, and this one has the "In God We Rust" error. And under the scope, that's what it looks like. Now you can see that the T is barely visible, and this variety will sort of present itself in a couple of different ways, or this error really. Sometimes the I and in is missing, the G in God is missing, and the T in trust is missing. But typically people do refer to this, even in that case, the "In God We Rust" error. I like to call it the "In Odd We Rust" when all 3 letters are missing. But I do find these from time to time. Again, quarter's not in the best of condition. It's pretty dirty. Actually, the detail's not bad. It's just a pretty dirty coin. But we'll put this up on the board as a find. So I'm bringing you guys in here on roll 16. Actually, it is the second coin out of roll 16. I've already got it here under the scope. It is one of the 2008 Arizona quarters. And if you look right here, you can actually see we've got that die chip that we're looking for right here over the engraver's initials. Normally, you can clearly see a J, an I, and an M. And this extra little hunk of metal's not supposed to be there. Again, this is a really common error that I find in Metro Atlanta. I hardly go a box without finding at least one. Sometimes I find 2 or 3. But it is a pretty minor error. I did want to point it out to you guys so you can look for it in your hunts. Same roll, maybe about 10 coins from the end, and I've got another quarter under the scope. This time we have a 2021 Washington. And this one's a little bit different. You see the beginnings of that little bump or extra piece of metal over top of the hat, but it's not really well formed. This is actually a die clash error, and you can see that we've got an impression from the opposite side of the coin right here on George's face. This is actually, I think, formed by this little crease in George's neck. One of these two. I think it's either this one or this one down here has been imprinted on the other side. So that's what that little indentation there is on the back of the coin. Again, I don't think this is a real valuable error, but I saw it as I was going through. Thought I'd point it out. So we cracked into roll 20. We're probably, I don't know, 2/3 the way through the roll, and I've already pulled the coin we're interested in, which is a 1999 Delaware. I've got it pulled up here on the scope, and you can see under magnification here that we have the variety known as the Spitting Horse, which is a die crack that runs from the edge of the horse's mouth on out to the edge of the coin. So in the wrap up, I'll give you guys an idea of the value of this coin, but yet another pretty cool quarter variety. So we're on roll 29, and I had some quarters in my hand. I was going through them, and I was going to bring you guys in because we have one of the really chunky crossing the Delaware quarters. You don't even need to put it under too heavy of a magnification, but if you go back in the video and check out the one I had before, this is a way chunkier version of that die chip error on the crown of George Washington. This is the kind of quarter that definitely will go for a bit more money. I'll put it at the end of the video. Last time I checked, these were kind of $5, $6, $7. Maybe they've gone up, maybe they've come down. I'm not sure, but we'll check it at the end. But this isn't the only reason I wanted to bring you in. As I was looking through this, look what was peeking out behind one of my quarters. When I kind of split the roll in half to pick it up, this guy fell out, and I didn't really see it the first time through. But we have a beautiful 1984 San Francisco clad proof. Look at this thing. That is a beautiful quarter to be in circulation. I mean, it's got some fingerprints on it because it's obviously been in some level of circulation, but nice quarter. We'll put it up on the board. So I broke into roll 45. I am literally, what is this, 6 coins in, and it hurts my feelings to have to show you this a little bit, but we have our first W of the box. Let me zoom in a little more. But it hurts my feelings because it's a 2020, which means it's relatively new, and it's pretty darn dirty and a little beat up. I'm hoping this is just dirt and grime, and with a little warm water and maybe some dish soap, this will just sort of dissolve off and come clean. It is a Weir Farm. I don't remember if this is one of the more valuable ones, but we'll cover that in the wrap-up. But W quarters are what nearly every quarter hunter is looking for because they're actually more valuable than the silver coins. So these typically start $10, $15 and can get very, very pricey from there. So super happy to find a W. Just wish it was in a little bit better shape. So unfortunately, we have reached the end of the box, and we really didn't find anything else. I figured very quickly I would go back through our finds and talk a little bit about value. The proof quarter, I'm not sure. I haven't looked this one up, but typically proof quarters, especially once they've hit circulation, really aren't worth much more than face value. Even though this one's in really, really good shape, this is something I'll flip up and hang on to, but it's not something that I would look to sell for a big profit. The other really cool coin we found that is unfortunately in pretty bad shape, and it's actually the next day that I'm filming this because I was pretty late when I finished the box. This Weir Farm W quarter, I've already taken the time to try to put this in some warm water with some soap. I let it sit in some acetone for a little while, and this coin is just not going to get much better without some scrubbing. W quarters, as I said earlier in the video, I looked today, they are getting down as low as $10 to $12 on eBay, plus shipping in many cases, and there are a couple, like the American Memorial Park and maybe the War in the Pacific, that are still going for really, really good money. We're talking in some cases $40, $50, $60. So if you do find a W, hopefully it's in good uncirculated shape. Remember, those are 2019 and 2020 quarters, and they need that W West Point mint mark. Those are definitely worth hanging on to. Checking eBay and offloading them from time to time because who knows, prices may continue to just drop. Moving on, I did just find a nice 1965. That's just something I'm probably going to flip up, or who knows, I may toss it back. But most of my 65s I get are really chewed up, and when I get them under the scope, like even if there was a DDO or something, it would be worthless because the coins are so bad. And this one was just gorgeous under the scope. So that's something I'll probably just hang on to. So moving on to the Spitting Horse, you can see that die crack, even under this light magnification with the camera, and if I get it in the right light. But that is a die crack that runs from the horse's mouth, usually just under the A and C, but mine actually makes it out to the rim of the quarter. This is not a quarter you're going to find on Variety Vista because it's not a typical DDO or DDR. If you want to see more about this quarter, you can just Google, Spitting Horse DDR or Spitting Horse quarter error. They talk about this on Littleton Coin Company. I found some best state quarter lists. I'll put some screenshots of those websites up on the screen. But you can read more about these errors if you're interested. A lot of times the easiest thing to do, though, is just go to eBay and type in the common name of the error and look at what people are finding. So that's also how I find prices. I go to eBay and look for the sold listings and see kind of in general what people are doing. So again, I'll put a price for this up on the screen. Moving on, we had our 2 crossing the Delaware errors. We had one that had the big crown error that has the big die chip here on the top of the hat, right? And this one you can kind of see just under some light magnification. You can see this die clash error where you see just a little bit of the front of the coin here in front of Washington's face. Again, I'll put prices for those on the screen. Interesting errors. I do find quite a number of the die chip errors. The die clash errors I find less of. The Arizona quarter, these are typically just $1, maybe $3 in general, and it depends on how clean the coin is because these are really, really common. Again, just the die chip over the engraver's initials. But I do find them, so I like to point them out to you guys. We have the 2005 Kansas error. Most of my Kansas coins are usually in pretty bad shape. I've yet to get a real clean, uncirculated version of this. Again, you are looking for that In God We Rust, where the T can be lightly seen on this one, but it's enough gone that it would qualify. But the In God We Rust is most common. A lot of times you might find the In Odd We Rust, or even the N, meaning the I is missing. And usually the more letters that are missing and the better quality of the coin, the more it's worth. And I've seen these get pretty pricey. I've seen these go for $20, $25, $30. Most of the time, though, you see them in that kind of $3 to $5 to maybe $7 range. Again, I'll put a few comps on the screen from eBay. The next coin is our Homestead, which I talked about kind of at length in the middle of the video. I do find a lot of these. Variety Vista's great at pointing out how to identify which one you have. And again, because there's so many errors, finding your exact error on eBay may be hard. Just understand that really you want massive errors on this for it to be worth a lot of money. So tons of extra metal on the roof for snow on the roof, or any of the big pump handle errors typically go for more money. Or if you have the leaky bucket, it needs to be leaking from the bucket underneath the water pump. You know, big die chips go for more money. But I showcase a lot of those on the channel. We did end up with 7 different 2020 Drooling Georges. We had one Man Killer, and we had 6 of the Maya Angelous. All of them are denoted by some sort of extra metal in the corner of the mouth. I don't want to spend more time on those. Most of those do go for just a couple of bucks on eBay. And lastly, we always pull our bicentennials. Here, I'll zoom out a little bit. I think I had 10 Phillies and 4 Denvers. None of the Denvers had the DDO. So that's going to wrap it up here. This was a great hunt. I've been really lucky because I do watch a lot of other YouTubers who hunt quarters, and a lot of times they have to go 2 or 3 boxes to get a fair number of finds. And lately, my single quarter box hunts have found at least, 5 or 10 or 12 pretty good errors. So I feel very fortunate lately with the quarter boxes that I'm getting. I hope you're enjoying these videos and they're at least somewhat educational for you. And maybe you're just getting enjoyment out of watching me find stuff. So if you've made it this far in the video, I really thank you. If you're new to the channel, please consider clicking on that subscribe button and then clicking on that little bell and selecting all so you get notified each and every time I release a video. And just so you guys know, only about 30% of you are clicking on that subscribe button. So I'd love it if more of you did, but I understand if you don't. All of you, whether you're new or old, please consider clicking that like button, drop one down below, and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. That said, you guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.